You're listening to the Rogers Sporting Goods Podcast with Patrick Fisher,
Chandler Smith,
and Josh from Outdoor Limits.
In this podcast, we'll touch on everything from gear to ducks to deer, turkey and fishing. From field to table, let's dive in. It'll be interesting because now we're going to be bringing on, I think it was Houston maybe, BYU.
Houston, BYU.
Yeah.
The other teams.
So it'll be interesting to see. Although it looks like Houston in basketball's tearing it up this year. They're number
good.
one.
They're
so
good. Our former guy, Kelvin Sampson, he's a former Sooner.
I know.
So,
yeah,
good for him.
That's who I remember as the Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
Great. That and Stoops.
Yeah, those are kind of
Old
legends
Stoops,
in both sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool to be
that's who
there.
I remember.
I miss Kelvin, but I did not. I had Coach Stoops. So
You had
obviously.
Coach Stoops?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, head coach. He's
Yeah.
he's a good
Hall
one.
of Fame coach.
Oh, incredible. He's
Yeah.
Stoops is the man. He's
How you go from
he's
Stoops
a great man
to
and a
Andy
great
Reid?
by the grace of God.
That is
hey, right place at the right time.
Yeah.
I can't take any credit for that one. Just lining up to, Hall of Fame to Hall of Fame kind of guys.
Right.
Collegiate NFL. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
especially growing up as fans of those guys. Like growing up as a kid, watching Stoops at Oklahoma. We had season tickets when I was little, and so following them. My dad played at Oklahoma, won a national championship with Barry Switzer back in the day.
Oh my
in
gosh.
'85. So we were huge. We were all Oklahoma family, and then watching Andy Reid in Philadelphia, and then to find my way to Kansas City, and going into year 9 with him. That's
You hit the lottery with them coaches.
Unreal.
Who was there someone after Switzer before Stoops?
Yeah, a couple.
Someone in between? There was a couple.
Yeah, there was Schnellenberger and John Blake.
Okay.
I believe those are the only two. And actually Gary Gibbs, Coach Gibbs, who was our linebacker coach in Kansas City for years.
Is that a Gibbs family member? Like Joe Gibbs?
I don't think so,
Okay.
but it always comes to mind.
Yeah. The first thing I thought of was Gibbs. The old Redskins, too. Old Gibbs and coaching the Redskins.
Yeah, several Gibbs come to mind.
Yeah.
Huh?
Uh-huh.
I know. It's funny when I do mention Coach Gibbs, those other families come to mind. Anyways, that'd be a Google question, I guess.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure you guys do that here and there on the show.
Mm-hmm. We do for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of the information highway these days. Why not?
Yeah.
So if you're tuning into this podcast, got a special guest on today that I've been waiting until the season ended, right? We didn't want to interrupt what was going on, but we've got number 41 from your hometown Kansas City Chiefs, James Winchester, two-time. I see a lot of people after the game, they look at each other, two-time.
Special.
Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
So obviously busy man, and you're in the off season now, but taking the time to come out here, and we're just gonna chit chat about hunting and all your passion for the outdoors, and obviously coming into the store, I've got to chit chat with you a while, and obviously you like everything outdoors, at least from what I can tell. So, but thanks for coming in.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
And we just got done trying to snap to each other, so that was interesting. I got a bruise on my chest. I caught it with my ribs instead of my hands.
Practice makes perfect. So.
It does. I need a lot of practice for that. So
and maybe the next day.
Yeah. But out of Washington, Oklahoma.
That's right.
In Washington High School.
That's right.
What area is that in Oklahoma?
So south of Norman, about 15 miles.
Okay.
And
south of Norman.
When I was in school, we were Class A. Now they're 2A. I think pushing 3A. Town of about 700, I believe. I graduated with 52 kids. So we were right down the road from Norman. But when you go to a small town, if you drive east and west through our town, you'll stop at one stop sign.
Small.
So very small. Very.
And I graduated Kearney, but that was 225 kids, which for this area is kind of small, smaller. Coming from like Liberty, which was almost triple that
Yeah.
at the time. So 700. And my
Well,
wife graduated with 12.
Wow.
It
Really?
was
That's-
really small.
That's
But yeah, so Washington High School, small school. Gotcha. What was so you played? Did you play football in high school though too?
I did.
Yeah.
Played just about everything they had to offer. So, football, basketball, baseball, and then transitioned to track later on. And really the only reason why I made the switch there to out of baseball was really because my dream was to play collegiate football at Oklahoma. So, coming from a small town, I thought, I'm burning a lot of time standing in the outfield and playing these games.
Yeah.
I need to get bigger. I mean, I was kind of a lanky, scrawny kid, and I thought, this is where my heart is, football. So I'll make some moves to try to make that dream happen.
Well, you took a year off between college and then
Took 3 off.
3 years
Yeah,
off between
yeah.
college and the NFL.
Yeah, not intentionally or because I wanted to. I was trying to make it every year, but basically I graduated from Oklahoma, and I was a long snapper that played wide receiver, which is kind of an odd combo, and had never really thought of the pros until my senior year. Our team chaplain Kent Bowles just said, "James, what are you going to do next year?" And I thought, have you thought about an agent? And I'm thinking like, man, I thought this was my dream to play at Oklahoma, and now we're talking about the NFL, and then you go into, well, what position am I going to play? So I'm thinking, well, nobody just desires to go be a NFL long snapper. You want to go make plays. You want to prove that, especially as a good athlete, you want to prove that you can play. And I was a all-state wide receiver from a small school, so you think you're good, but you're not Division I talent per se, and definitely wasn't getting any looks by any Division I colleges. So I decided to walk on at Oklahoma after graduating from Washington, and went up there. And my first day on campus, I realized that the team didn't have a long snapper. So their long snapper that was there, Derek Shaw from Sand Springs, Oklahoma, he was a veteran at the time. He'd partially torn his Achilles tendon. And I'm looking at it like, I'm going to have a really tough time as a kid from Washington, Oklahoma, making the roster. They were pretty stacked. We ended up, fast forward, we went to the national championship, got beat by Florida. And I thought, if I want to be a Sooner and wear that across my chest and run out on this field and contribute, I'm going to have a tough time doing it as a wideout. And so I started snapping and did it enough through the summer, June and July, to get the job for the first 3 games until the veteran came back. And then I backed him up the rest of the season. Ended up snapping sophomore, junior, senior year, earned a scholarship doing it my senior year, and then was at a crossroads after school because I did not have the experience to play wide receiver, but we kind of had the body type of a wideout. Didn't have the weight or body type as a long snapper, but I had the experience as a long snapper. So it's kind of like this limbo.
Right.
And so I started going to camps in Arizona through Gary's Honor that puts on some free agent combines, and gained the weight first of all. So I had to gain like 35 pounds in 2.5 months. And then that put me in a position where I could actually go out and get some looks. And then it really took me 3 years. Signed with Philadelphia. It was actually the first team I ever signed with.
Oddly enough,
in 13. Was there long enough to get a hot chocolate and have a couple preseason game opportunities, and then went on my way. Went back home. In those 3-year time span, I worked in oil and gas as a oil and gas landman, doing anything from buying mineral to right-of-way work, whatever I could, and then just trained at local high schools. Was fortunate enough to be able to stay home, in central Oklahoma or within driving distance, so I could continue to train and kind of work on that skill. And then 2015 rolls around, was about to get married, and went back to the same camp in Arizona, and had an opportunity with Kansas City. And so came out here for a workout, signed after my workout, and competed for the job, and 2 Super Bowls later and 8 years later,
I
here we
know,
are.
right? What a story. So Kendall Gaiman was this long snapper.
Well, it was actually Kendall, and then Thomas Gafford.
Okay.
So Gafford's a big waterfowl guy, so he
right,
may listen to
all right.
this. So shout out to Thomas Gafford. He's a great guy.
Like Kendall Gaiman's a big name when you talk about the Chiefs. Like you know.
Oh yeah, Kendall's a legend. He's a great one.
Yeah.
I've had the opportunity to get to know Kendall and see him around. And, Kendall was one of the first guys that had the opportunity to work with.
Okay.
And, I still have in my notebook, I still have a page of notes from Kendall, just what he talked about that day.
Right.
As a rookie, you're trying to break that barrier.
Yeah.
And, not only make the team, but also succeed in what you're doing and make a career out of it. And I took a lot of notes remembered a lot of the things that Kendall had to say and kind of applied those throughout the years.
Hey, in this season, I mentioned it to you at the store, last 2 games of the year, game-winning kicks. So you're a part of that. Not that, albeit it works out great, but, you're basically the last points put up for those games. So,
you always dream
that's
of,
got to feel special.
Yeah, you always
it
have
starts with you.
Yeah, well, hey, that's the name of the game.
I mean, your hand
it
touches
starts
it.
with the snap, right?
Yeah,
so,
it does.
which can end in a lot of bad ways. But thankful I've got great guys and great teammates and the professionals that I've had the opportunity to work with. The kickers and punters. Throughout the years, they have helped me out in multiple occasions, and I think it's vice versa, the other way around as well. But to have an opportunity to have a hand in a AFC championship, for that to come down to a last-second field goal, and then a Super Bowl to come down to a last-second field goal. I mean, that's at our position. That's what you dream about, and you always hope we'll come up and have an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And so, props to those guys for just continuing to be the pros that they are and push through some adversity this season. And we came back and made those kicks when they counted, and we're world champions.
Yeah. You do enough of those, they're going to make a Winchester highlight reel. We'll put that video
Last
up
about 15 seconds, but over the course of 15 years.
seconds
but,
worth of snaps.
There you go. Yeah.
That's good stuff. No, it was a great season, obviously.
Thank you.
The city's still buzzing. I mean, it's just right.
No
You're
doubt.
world champion. So, and we're blessed to be able to go, 3 out of 5 years.
Oh, man. It's unreal.
So it's just like,
Yeah.
But beyond football, the real reason we wanted to bring you in is because you're a big outdoor enthusiast.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
If you want to see his accolades on the field, tune in on Sunday. So, but the other side of him is the hunting and fishing and turkeys, whitetail. I even think I saw pictures of you deep sea fishing.
Oh, man. I do it all when I get the chance.
Yeah, you're all over the board. What was that growing up, though? Small town. I'm guessing your parents had some influence on you at an early age, like getting you into it, or did your parents both hunt? Did the family hunt? What was that like?
For me, my grandparents to this day still live in southern Oklahoma, down in Marietta in Love County, and that place down there was kind of where I fell in love with the woods. I had an uncle who loved to deer hunt, and then I had an uncle who loved to fish. My dad liked to do both, and so at a young age, my Uncle Greg started taking me out and hauling me up into deer stands. Now at the time, those deer stands were basically a wooden pallet that was fitted in between a tree fork, and which a lot of safety issues there. And
right, yeah.
Then he was an electrician, so he worked on power poles and things like that. So the steps up to that were nails. So, you kind of had to go the nails in a tree branch here and there.
You guys went all out.
Oh, all out, man. And, but so many great memories hunting with him when I was younger, and really just fell in love with it, and just anything outdoors, to spring turkey to fall whitetail. And then, they had Lake Murray and Lake Texoma were pretty close. And so we did a lot of fishing there, anything from catfish to striper. And it was that was where I really fell in love with anything and everything outdoors. And so fortunate to continue a love for that and meet a lot of great people that have the same passion.
And you did, we kind of talk about the differences between Oklahoma here, like, whitetail's definitely a big difference. And so did you get to, obviously fishing, whitetail, You got to do that down there.
Yeah, we
turkey.
Yep, whitetail, turkey. They're Rios in southern Oklahoma, and I grew up in central Oklahoma, south of Norman, but then my family's property and farm was closer to Texas, so pushing Ardmore, Marietta
gotcha.
area.
Okay.
And so down there, thick oak woods. You get some big deer here and there, but the size contrast of bodies of the
body
whitetail
type is-
and antler, you come up to this part of the country, Kansas, you're really east or west, Kansas or over into Missouri, the deer are bigger, body wise, and just I was in awe. I'm looking at these deer like, and also as a bow hunter,
Right.
primarily that's what I like to do, and I've had a passion for archery for a long time, since probably the fourth grade. Started hunting, and a lot of failures along the way doing that, a lot of misses, but you get that.
I've been there.
You get the shakes once, and you itch for it, and so to have an opportunity to bow hunt and then come up here and bow hunt Kansas. That was the first time I'd ever done that in 2015, and it was just opened my eyes to a whole different world of whitetail, and it's been special, a lot of fun.
Can you was waterfowl? Did you get into that early, or did that come later? Growing up.
Waterfowl for us was running up over the top of a pond dam and shooting as the birds fly away. It's just kind of like,
Yeah.
no one really did it there. Or the same thing with geese. Nobody that I was around at the time. It was really just whitetail and turkey. So I didn't actually see waterfowl the way people do up here till I came to Kansas City.
Okay.
And had that opportunity to join some guys and get to go on some
Right.
honker hunts or mallards and see the numbers of birds. And I'm like, okay, I get it why you guys do this and why you love it.
Didn't we all? I feel like as a kid, that's what I did. And maybe it was just it was just getting out there. I still did
jump shooting.
Yeah, I at least for me, I was, I still did.
Opportunist.
Well, yeah, I'm an equal opportunist.
I think
if it's legal, I'm doing it.
Yeah, I think every kid or teenager is
but
an
I just,
opportunist when it comes to the outdoors, right?
There was a few times hey, there's some ducks or there's some geese. It was specifically geese was what I remember vividly. It's you want to get your kid a shot, and so you do the whole sneak up over the pond dam and. But for a kid, it was still fun. To me, it was hunting. I did,
Yeah, it's a blast when you have about 5 or 6 ponds
Yeah.
you can go to.
You need more than one. It's kind of a bummer when you got one and you run up over the pond and there's one coot flies away.
Yeah,
And then you're like, time to go home.
Yeah,
Dang it.
I had one time we saw 100 ducks sitting on the pond, and we go all the way around the pasture, get on the downside of the dam. We're being all stealthy, sneaking up. We get over the dam, nothing.
Everything's
All
gone.
that.
It's we're like, where'd they go?
Yeah. Right. I've been, I remember it was me, Dad, and it was one or two other guys, and we had gone out that morning, didn't get any weird goose hunting, didn't have any luck.
Goose hunting a pond or a field?
Goose hunting, I think we might have field hunting on a property we had permission, but then and we didn't have any luck. So on the way home, we passed by a property where there was a pond and we saw geese. Let's go get some birds. We were skunked up to that point.
I feel like a lot of jump shoots start out that way.
Right. So we crawl up over the pond dam, and there was at least 3. There could have been 4 of us, and we're just started banging, and then we're just yelling, "Stop!" And then soon after the first couple shots go off, then you're like, okay, don't shoot anymore, because you start seeing geese fall. And then what you don't want to make sure is how many fell. So we ended that real quick. We still ended up short of our limit because we put the ceasefire on. But
Man, we just shot until he started clicking.
you just
What
what was
you're
the
out.
Run to the plug.
Yeah.
Have you hunted Oklahoma waterfowl?
Did you hunt Lester's down there, Josh? No.
I guess my question was, what's the Canada limit down
8.
there?
8.
Yeah, see, in
Three.
here now
3.
it's 3. It used to be 2
Yeah.
when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so to hear these other states, 8?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
It's a good problem.
Yeah. So
you're a hunter.
maybe we'll get there someday.
It makes
but
your hunt a little longer though.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
there's
that
some
limit,
goose
that limit's
hunts
a
that-
little.
It's a little harder
higher.
to attain.
Yeah.
Them 2 limit goose hunts go by quick though.
Yeah.
You wake up early or whatever, and you get out there and
With a
Done.
three bird limit.
well,
Well,
even,
yeah.
or even when it was 2, so you're done and over with.
Well, on the East
Before you
Coast,
even get
you can only
going.
shoot 2 mallards.
Yeah,
Wow.
that would be
Yeah,
I think isn't there some one Canada
and
goose?
one Canada.
Yeah, over on the east.
on the East Coast. So
Yeah.
1 Canada, 2
In
mallards.
certain areas, yeah.
You'd be done before you even set up.
Well, they get a lot of wood ducks and black ducks and other things, but yeah.
Gotcha.
Better start inviting all your friends.
total
right?
bag
Raise
limit
that total
is
number
more.
of hunters.
Well,
The total bag limit of ducks, though. So
I
what
don't
is
know.
it? 2
I don't know
mallards
enough
and
about the subject. You have
I
to
wonder if
refer to
it's
your
like
local game and
6
fish.
or
yeah, I think it's
that's our favorite line.
Google.
Refer to your local
Game and fish.
Game and fish.
No, I think I don't know exactly, but I mean they have 2 mallards. You're saying, Josh, right? On
Yeah.
certain places.
In certain
But
places.
they
It's just
can,
like you
but
can
they
only
can still
shoot-
fill the 6 limit or
Yeah.
whatever.
You still fill the
Just like 2 redheads,
yeah, you get some
Gotcha.
black ducks and wood ducks and things in there
Okay.
that we don't
4
normally get.
mallards.
We get 4 mallards, you know.
Yeah,
Right.
same day.
we get lucky there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get 5.
You get 5
Kansas.
Kansas. Yeah.
Kansas. Yeah. And Kansas.
That's
boy,
all right.
Too,
I
so.
usually just ask my waterfowl guys that I'm hunting with. How many
like,
can we
hey,
kill
what's
again?
going on
How
today?
How many can we kill?
Yeah,
again?
where are
You know,
we
like,
at here?
I'm they're my point of reference on how many we can shoot because still relatively new to it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But bow hunting was kind of your main thing growing up.
When did you
Yeah.
start bow hunting?
About the 4th grade.
4th grade?
Yeah, I got a little
Wow.
PSE and
Okay.
man, that was it's amazing. You know how far bows have come. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
like unbelievable. You know, I mean, this thing was like 5 foot long. I mean, it looked more like a you know, like a recurve almost. You know, but it was
Yeah.
a compound, and I think I was pulling like 45 pounds when I first started.
Yeah.
and
That's good, though.
It was a learning
Yeah.
experience, you know. But I think you know, going out and hunting and having the challenge and finally connecting. Was what really brought you back, you know, like
Yeah.
the close encounter, the everything that goes into it, and you know that was something that even to this day, you know, if I've got the choice, I'm hunting bow. I mean, that's just
Is
what I'd rather do.
you're talking about the shakes and I get excited and so I'm wondering if game winning long snap in the Super Bowl to win you the chip or world class whitetails walks up in 20 yards and you got to put that pin.
Man, I'd be way more nervous that whitetail walking up. I mean, to be honest with you, and really the simple answer to that is I'm experienced in one, and I haven't seen that big of a whitetail walk up, so I can guarantee you I would not be as
yeah, I
composed
suppose. Yeah.
as you would need to be. But you know, the thing with what I do with snapping, which what I probably should do is apply more to what I do as a professional long snapper to my bow hunting because I'd probably benefit from it. Why I haven't, probably just I do more snapping than I do shooting my bow.
True.
So you know, it's kind of a practice makes perfect.
I'm
deal.
with you there. I like if you ask anybody, bow hunting is my go-to. Like if I've got an unfilled tag, that's going to be what I want to try to go to
Yep.
first before I go. Where Josh, it's like I got a chance to go shoot some fowl. He's getting after it.
I do kind of want to dabble in the old bow hunting
Yes,
gears.
we talked
didn't you
about
get
it.
one?
I have a
Crossover.
bow. I shot a turkey with my bow last spring.
Okay, yeah, you got a compound bow.
But
few years
your
ago.
go-to's the duck hunting 1st. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or squirrels.
Oh, I do love squirrel
You do love the squirrel hunting.
See, I always have the desire to hunt waterfowl, but it's right when the deer hunting's good, and I'm just really conflicted.
And
and
duck
for-
hunting's really good when the deer hunting's good.
Yeah, and it just so happens that there's this thing called football season right in the
Yeah.
middle. So
It's got to be the
it's
toughest
tough.
thing as a football.
Yeah, like how do you balance hunting and football during season?
Well, for one, I'm a specialist in the National Football League. So if I was another position, it might be a different story. For example, those guys, they spend a lot more time in meetings than we do. There's only so much we can watch, and we watch hours of that in the morning and do our thing in practice. But typically when practice is over, you grab some food and get out. So when the daytime timing of sunset allows it, you can get out and go home and hunt maybe an evening or two. Now, I used to have a lot more opportunity. Then I started having kids, so that kind of takes some of your time out there. But now my son is getting of age. He's 5, and we're starting to go together. So that's kind of a cool deal. But, like to answer your question, in a season, typically, our schedule really never changes if we play Sunday and Sunday. We have Monday totally off. Tuesday is kind of a half day. And then Thursday, Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, are kind of work days. Friday is a shorter day. So really in a week's time, if you take family and everything out of the equation, you have the opportunity to hunt Monday morning, Monday night, Tuesday night, Friday night, But when you get to the times of the year when when it's go time and the deer are running and you're starting to see some rut activity, it's real painful to be driving to work and watching deer cross the road and you're like, dude, all I want to do is be in a deer stand right now. But I'm very grateful for what I get to do for a living, and so you go on. But I will take back roads on the way to Arrowhead just to see to watch deer. And there's been several guys that have done the same. Frank Zombo was a guy that would take the back roads to look for deer, and it's it's one of those things. The grass is greener. We're thankful to be playing in the National Football League, and someday when we're retired, we'll get to do a lot more waterfowl and whitetail.
Well, don't feel too bad working in a outdoor retail store.
It's about the same.
It's about the same. Our go time is when hunting's good.
Yeah.
And so we get Sunday, Monday off, but typically stuff gets planned. So my hunting is short.
And you're watching the Chiefs by noon.
And this last year, it was every time the Chiefs were on, I watched. And like the year before, I usually went hunting on those days, and then I missed it. And I'm like, gosh, dang. Like, you're torn between watching your Chiefs play or be out in the field where you get spotty signal. You're trying to pay attention on Sports Center app or, you know what I mean? And then I miss what's walking by because I'm checking the score. It's always lag behind.
Yeah.
Couldn't you just record it and watch it when you get home?
Yeah, but there's no chance I'm getting home without someone
without
telling
a call
me.
or a text.
Did you
or
see what
something.
happened?
Yeah.
I could just see it driving home, phone off, radio off, just nothing.
Yeah, you couldn't even turn on the radio because
Yeah.
610, 810 is going to have, post-game coverage. 106.5 now.
Yeah.
They do a post-game coverage, so you can't even turn to that channel. Your friends are texting you. You don't get on social media. So
Don't go in the gas station. I'm sure
You don't
get
walk
fans,
anywhere.
like run into a fan somewhere. You're going to get some info.
you can tell by
whether
their
you want it or not.
demeanor. Yeah,
Yeah.
you go into
Yeah.
a gas
Yeah.
station. Chiefs fan somberly walks in like, well, I guess it didn't go well. Or they walk in, did you see that?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, gosh. Dang.
Either way, they're holding the
I
case of
actually
beer.
do, though.
No doubt.
Oddly enough, I do record every game. So when something crazy does happen, I can go back and watch it. Like,
Oh, you have
Yeah.
to.
yeah, because it's
There's a lot of stuff that
it's so hard to catch everything in a game or
Yeah.
little things that happen or
I always say as a long snapper, I got the best seat in the house. I get to watch a lot as well, right? So when we're not out there, we have incredible offense and defense, and to watch those guys, you relax a little more when we're on defense. Offense, you got to be ready to go. You're watching, but you're really looking at the yardage, and you're looking at the down, and kind of gauging like, are we going to be up, and
when you
staying
gotta
ready
be
for
ready.
that. And so there's a lot of times, we score, same thing, score. I'm trying to get a couple snaps in before I run out to snap the extra point. And I don't know how we scored. I have no idea, because typically you see the ball in the air, you hear the fans, you're like, yep, that's a touchdown. And so I go right over, so I don't see it. So there's a lot of highlights I see, same thing when I get home. And I'm like, wow, that was a great play.
Is there? I know we're jumping back and forth here, but I know it's not like this. So, are the specialists? Do they have one spot? Are you guys kind of spread out? It's like, oh, we scored, and everybody's kind of running from different areas to get out there on special teams.
We typically have areas that we stay. Obviously, there's a net on the sideline on both ends of our bench, and depending on which direction we're going, typically Harrison will stay in one for the most part.
Gotcha.
And then Tommy and I will typically flip. Go back and forth, and I kind of follow the ball because I don't like being the one that's like 70 yards from the extra point. I don't want to run all the way out there. I would rather just kind of be a little more efficient, run down the 15-yard line straight out to it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the
Do
way
you
I see
remember
it.
the dots where you had your 11 players on offense or defense or special teams, and we all lined up on the dots on the sideline before we ran in?
Oh, yeah.
All right, kicking team. We all got on our dots. And then the coach, all right.
Typically
send us out.
for our special teams, punt return, punt, kickoff return, they'll still huddle up and they'll still have kind of that huddle deal.
Yeah.
Usually the specialists, we're kind of doing our own thing. Like
Right.
we kind of stay out of the crowd because
Yeah.
there's no point of us being in there for that.
Gotcha.
If we've got to huddle up on the field, we'll do it. But we're specialists for a reason.
Yeah.
We're special. We're over
I
there
gotcha.
kind of doing our thing.
Uh-huh.
And, as long as whatever it takes to get the job done.
Yeah.
That's what everybody wants. The end goal. So
Yeah. So you talked about get a 5-year-old son now who's getting into hunting.
Yes.
You were showing me some pictures and stuff because you got a new farm.
We do.
So to speak. I don't know. When did you purchase your place out there?
So it was not this past. So it was September. It was about not quite 2 years. So a year and a
Gotcha.
half.
Your little own slice of
Man, a
heaven
little
out
slice of
there
heaven. Yeah,
you
man, that
got
place
to
just kind of fell in our
hunt on.
lap, and we feel very fortunate to have some space. And growing up in a small town, that's the way.
Right.
I wanted to wake up every morning, and then and then you have kids, and that really rings true that you want to raise them kind of how you were raised.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're fortunate to be out there, and not too far of a drive, but have a nice little setup and can do a little hunting fishing there at the house.
So you got fishing out there you can do on your place.
Yep.
Whitetail.
Yep, we've got a little bit of everything. Don't have any turkey
waterfowl.
yet, but hoping to maybe get some turkey.
Yeah, I wonder how
in
you
there.
can. Do they have programs for that, Chandler?
I probably do.
I think they have some. I think not the
talking
MDC, but the,
What'd you say?
the
Kansas or Missouri?
the
Yeah.
Kansas Department of
Yeah.
Wildlife. I know at least the MDC, and maybe I misread it, but they do certain things where they can
Yeah.
help with habitat and reestablishing a population.
Yeah, we've
know,
we've
on
got
their
turkey
farm.
right down the road, within a mile or two. So we've got some in the area, but being in an area that's primary, agriculture. I mean, it's mostly corn and bean fields and some little draws. The place behind our house, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm working more on habitat, planting native seed, and trying to get. We've got about 8 or 9 acres of native grass planted, and doing some things back there, some timber cutting, some hinge cuts and some things to just try to create some habitat, but mostly hopefully the grass with the food plots. Maybe we can kind of recruit some, and then
Yeah,
obviously
those
the predator
green
control.
fields.
That's another side of that. Is we have a lot to do back there in that one, and we're putting a dent in them, but it's it's an ongoing deal, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun to do with my son. Because he gets excited about it, and so
Yeah, he's kind of at that age now. He's starting to, I feel like the 4, 5, 6, they're really starting to grasp a little bit of kind of what's going on. You really start spreading that knowledge, passing it down.
Yeah, well, it's such a fun thing to see, especially your kids, but just, little ones in general start having a passion for the outdoors and just they get a taste of it here and there, and they start kind of seeing what it's all about. And then, the double side reward there is, as a parent or as an adult, you kind of relive through them, getting to watch them enjoy, what you enjoyed growing up, and you see them see the simplicity in it, but really truly have a passion for it, and just like what's going on, whether it be riding around an ATV or some of the management stuff, just getting to hang out with dad or waterfowl. My son is like eat up with waterfowl right now. I mean, he's scratching the surface,
on your
but
level.
yeah, he's fired up about it, and so he's all about ducks. So which is funny because I've always been a whitetail and turkey growing up in Oklahoma, and we didn't, like we mentioned earlier, didn't really do a lot of waterfowl, and now he's all waterfowl. So making more and more trips to Rogers to grab decoys and silhouettes. And, duck calls,
Where he might want to go deer hunting. Now the 5-year-old's like, no.
I know, and honestly, that happened this
We're
fall.
going duck hunting, Dad.
Hey, with only a couple, with only a couple, nights or maybe one night a week to really get out. I was having some battles with him, because I'm like, man, I can't wait to go hunt. Let's go sit in the redneck. And he's like, nah, Dad, let's go sit in the blind. I want to see some ducks. I'm like, dude, but like, what are you gonna do as a dad? You're like, okay, let's go duck hunting.
Right? Yeah, you're not gonna say
No, not at all.
And that's part of it too. Is as a kid, one to keep their interest and enjoyable is might not be the perfect weather for it, or might be the perfect evening to do a deer hunt and not duck hunt, or vice versa, and it's kind of just letting them run the show, and like, hey, if he wants to go duck hunting, and might not be the best time for it, but that's what he wants to do, so let's go do it. Or I always struggled when I started taking the nephews or whatever, or someone that didn't quite know everything. You had to pull yourself back a little bit, like, hey, they don't, they're just having fun, and they're out here, and not
that's it.
Not me leaning over
yeah.
going, be quiet, be quiet.
Well, you said it best. They're out there, and that's the value of of being out there, and especially in today's day and age, with the technology and everything.
Sure.
I think back to when I was little. I mean, I played video games, just like everybody else did, but I had that, at a young age, I had that desire to be outdoors. I mean, that was where I wanted to be. Even in high school, we'd play Friday night, and the guys that all have stuff planned for Friday night and Saturday morning, I'd jump in the even when I could, before I could drive, I'd jump in with my grandparents or my uncle, drive down to southern Oklahoma because I wanted to be in a deer stand, on Saturday morning, and stuff like that. That you just, for kids to be there, it's not so much what they're doing, but that they're there and they're out there enjoying,
right.
God's creation and the simplicity of it. There's just so much value in it.
Yeah, it makes sense. We need to. Are you doing? You said you were planting, and I'm not big on the waterfowl side. So, is there people put like millet and stuff out in like water?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can do
and stuff.
Millet, smart wheat,
moist soil drawdowns and stuff, and plant millet and stuff,
just to help keep.
It just depends on
help
what type
keep
of
the waterfowl there in the in that your water source or whatever you got.
give them food.
I had buddy Zach Peterson. He gave me a 50-pound bag of Japanese millet, and we planted that around. The water got down. I mean, it's just a 9-acre flood control lake, and water got down. We owned the flat side of it, and so we threw it out, and man, it was great. I mean, provided a lot of food. And now they ate it pretty quick.
Yes, they do.
But especially when the Canadas got in there, I mean, it was just like they were sitting there every day.
Yeah.
But from our back window, we could see it. So I mean, me and my son both, we had the binoculars out watching waterfowl, and we found out that spot was a little more of a loafing pond than anything, but we still put a blind down there and killed some ducks.
Sure.
So, but again, got to take him, and he got out there.
Do you
so
have areas to do field hunting?
We do,
on
yeah.
your property for like Canadas, or
it depends on what's planted. This past year was beans, but the coming year it'll probably be corn, and I think it. From what I know from our waterfowl expert over here. With the waterfowl, I mean, it's kind of like where's the X, so like scouting them and figuring out where they're landing, those geese around us land on the water, every night, but they're basically roosting or they're staying there all day. But to find the areas where they're where they're feeding, and then trying to get in, and having that line up where you can get out and maybe get a hunt in, that kind of seems like. But really, to answer your question, I mean, the cornfields typically. I mean, I didn't see many in bean fields around us, but corn, yes.
What you ought to do is just bow hunt geese.
Then I like
people do that.
Like deer hunting.
Well, I've seen the Heartland guys do that a little bit, and that kind of got my brain spinning a little bit. And that's a little best of both worlds.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I love to bow hunt turkey. I have a little bit more time in the spring, and so much fun. And the first time you get one with a bow, it's like I don't ever want to shoot a shotgun again. Not that I'm totally against it at all. I will, but I've been able to harvest enough with a shotgun. Been there, done that. I'm sure I'll go through that with my son when he's, the next couple of years he's going to start hunting, and we'll probably do the same thing. Pull the little 20 gauge out and go to town. But the bow hunting with for turkey, that's been a lot of fun. I have a hunt in Kentucky, and Tennessee coming up with my buddy Tom Johnson, and we're looking forward to that. I think third weekend of April we're going to go out there, so that'll be a good time.
Do you hunt multiple states?
When it permits,
I suppose spring turkey would probably be the one where you could the most anyway. So
yeah, with our off season the way it lines up, you definitely have more opportunity to travel and do those things. I mean, obviously football season you're here, so
yeah.
That's kind of how that goes. But yeah, in the past, hunted Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas, and then Tennessee, Kentucky, and had some good hunts. Half of the fun with going on those hunts is just seeing new property, seeing new terrain, and it's such a cool thing to go see a new place. Florida's on my list. I'd love to go to Florida. I'd love to go to the mountains and kill one of those birds. But the experience, especially the older you get, you enjoy the change of scenery and the terrain, as much as you enjoy the hunt itself.
When did you say? When does the specialist have to be at training camp in the fall or in August?
We report typically it's like July 26th.
July 26th.
Varies every year, but typically it's like leading into that fourth week of.
I know we had mentioned it. I was
July.
like, man, the boy would be ate up with coming to the store for Waterfowl weekend, which this year is August 5th, but it's on a Saturday, and I'm guessing you guys are already up there.
Yeah,
and
once we get started in St. Joe, we're one off
like
day a week,
lockdown.
and when we have that one off day, we're scooting back to our home to spend as much time as possible before we have to go back up the next day for curfew. So it's kind of
the boy would be outside. I just know from you were showing me what was it? Where were you? Disney World. Disney World, and a duck landed in the pool.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like the swimming pool?
Yeah. And his son could care less about anything else going on. He's chasing that duck down.
Oh man! Well, he's already eat up with waterfowl. Like he loves it, and he's already talking about I want a pet duck. I mean, he wants to hunt them, but he also wants a pet duck. He's all over the place. And we're at Disney World, and these two ducks land on the pool, and my son's just like. He's swimming. He's chasing them, and he's like a foot behind them. They're paddling just fast enough to.
Oh, so he's in the pool.
He's in the pool, and these ducks are swimming around, and he's literally chasing them. And I let it go for a little bit, and then I'm kind of like, "Dang, dude, you kind of like embarrassing me a little bit."
I was like, "Did these ducks have
come on, man,
wings?
let's get out of here." What'd you say?
I thought they were like the Disney World show ducks.
No, they were. No, it was a pair of mallards.
I think they
just
got lost.
They probably get fed bread at the local lakes.
Right. Yeah.
But I was a proud dad moment. We go to Magic Kingdom the first day, and you've got everything from Mickey and Minnie to the castle to Buzz Lightyear, all this stuff going on. And my son sees a mallard on the lake, and he's like, Dad, he's like, there's a mallard. And he's all fired up about it. And I'm just like, dude, we're at Disney World, and you're fired up about a duck. But anyways, I love the simplicity to it. I love that
keep it going.
Genuinely, he loves to be outdoors and loves some of the things that I love. That's cool as a dad.
That won't ever go away either.
No.
I was just down in Arizona, and I'm eating lunch with my wife, and there's this lake right there. Mm-hmm. She's facing away, but I see this spoonie. Drake spoonie, fully plumed, just beautiful wall hanger. And I couldn't shut up about it.
Oh, man, that's good.
It won't go away.
You left mid-date. I was like,
she said, you can go out there and take a picture of it.
Yeah, do you want a picture of that duck?
Go ahead, Josh. Take your time.
Well, I tried afterwards, and it just kept swimming away.
Yeah.
Well, to add on that, I've noticed myself now that we're getting a little more into the waterfowl, like identifying. Normally it's my buddies who I'm sending a picture to. Like, hey, what is this? And now we're seeing all these species. So same thing. I mean, we were just in Arizona for the Super Bowl, and you've got these random ducks landing on these lakes. And you take note of it. You look at them. Oh, hey, look at that. There's
trying to figure out what species
Drake wood duck,
it is.
It's fun.
Well, he might be so ate up with it if he doesn't get into football or follow your footsteps. Maybe he's a waterfowl biologist or something.
I'd be okay with it.
He'd be out
honest
there.
With you, I'd be fine with it.
He'd be out there banding ducks and
Yep.
Hey, don't put it past him. He might do it.
He'd be ate up with is out there with Jeff Watt.
Oh yeah.
Banning them ducks. We had him
Putting
on last week.
transmitter backpacks on them and stuff,
On
and trapping them and that's-
trapping 'em.
Yeah, doing some research out here.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I bet he'd
It's
be.
Kansas or Missouri?
He's in Missouri, but they're not close. They're not. I mean, they're not far from
Yeah,
Kansas.
they're actually not too far. Yeah, I can just see. Yeah,
And how many birds do they?
the
how
boy
do they
be.
do that?
What did he say? They
They
caught
trapped like
1,300,
Goodness.
but they banded 100 and some.
Yeah, something like that.
'Cause they only banded mallard or
Hens.
drakes.
Yeah.
They only banded hens.
Oh, they
Oh,
only
hens.
banded
Yeah,
hens.
MDC only let them band hens.
That's right. But they
I
did,
know what I'm shooting more of.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I know, right?
Kind of put a target on them.
But they did. So they got like a little waterfowl backpack. It's super small and it's got a solar
Solar
power,
panel on it,
Solar
yeah.
panel.
Yeah.
Flying around, look like something out of Avengers or something.
Yeah.
It's an Avengers.
was
duck.
there any reason? Did they say
Yeah.
why hens?
I don't
Well,
know.
I think because
No,
everybody shoots
Everybody
drakes.
shoots drake. That's what I was
Immediately
thinking.
what I
So
was
they
thinking
want to
is,
get
yeah.
more. They want to
Yeah.
get more
Data.
data.
Make sure and film that and show them actually clamping these hens and letting
Yeah.
them go. So they're like, hey, don't always shoot the hen.
Yeah.
That makes sense if they're
green.
putting backpacks on them.
Yeah.
To just do the hens.
Yeah, and they don't want to. You're trying to get as much data as you can. So if you band all drakes, the chances go up.
Yeah.
That does. And then they did. They inserted some too. So some with the backpacks, and then
What is the
some,
backpack? What is that?
It's
Yes.
a GPS transmitter. It'll send a signal, and then they're able to track the migration.
like
pattern.
twice
How about that?
twice a day when
Very
they pass
cool.
by a cell tower. It just dumps all the data. It sends a signal, and then he said there's a website, so you can
Yeah.
go to it and like see what this duck's been doing.
That's
And
that's like the banded deal, just advanced, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's just
Yeah.
Yeah, we
more
say
advanced-
backpack, and that's the
Yeah.
nickname for them
Very
because
cool.
they're
But-
on their
Yeah.
back and they look just like a little backpack.
Well, now-
What do you
And-
do with it when you shoot them?
Yeah.
Keep it? You
Well,
can't turn it
actually,
in.
they're going to have a leg band at the same time.
Yeah.
and that has the phone number that you call.
You got to
and
give the backpack back.
the backpack. I think goes back. I mean, probably even if it's destroyed. And if you wanted to mount the bird, which I think a lot of people would,
Some people do.
They send you a replica backpack,
Yeah.
like a shell and like no guts that you can mount
Right.
with it on it because it's
So
like,
cool.
It's like a banded bird, but it's
Yeah.
it's the next step. It's
Yeah.
that transmitter
age.
bird.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I hadn't heard of
then
that.
beyond that, they did they had to have a specialized vet doctor on scene, and they put hens to sleep, and over the little duck beak.
Give 'em some gas.
Giving some gas, and they're asleep on a table, and they inserted a transmitter with a little antenna sticking out the back of its wing,
Yep.
and it had like a leveling device in there, so they could tell when the bird was
Yeah.
butt up feeding or flying or
that?
whatever, so it could
Wow,
kind of
man,
tell like
That's
feeding
advanced.
stages.
Yeah, that's.
And I'm like,
Getting there.
oh my gosh! You showed me
telling you.
pictures of it laying on the table.
Well,
Like,
you had
that
you had
is
to imagine
wild.
it would only be a matter of time. You move away something
Sure.
other than the banded deal.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
So not that they're moving away from that, but it's neat. That
Like
they're,
he said, in the waterfowl world, the band is like putting your mount of your whitetail
Yeah.
on the wall.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Yeah.
got their bands.
Yeah.
So
Some agencies might not be able to afford the GPS units.
Yeah,
as
and they
well.
don't. They're not banding. Well, they're banding geese, but not doing electronic stuff on geese.
Right.
But they banned a lot of geese, and
bigger backpacks.
yeah, for real. But
Well, it'd probably
geese,
be the same size.
geese might sit around in the neighborhood pond for a while and not give you much data.
Right? They don't.
Yeah.
But they're
lot
doing
of-
They're just
transmitting
fat
on
lards.
speckle bellies and mallards.
Yeah, because he said nowadays, like Canada's, some of them are year round. They don't ever leave where they're at.
Well, every Canada band I have is from South Dakota.
So it's not very
Very
it's
far at
like,
all.
Didn't even go that far, really.
yeah. Every Canada band I had, I think, was banded within 20 miles of where I was at.
Just shooting all the
You're
local
watching them out
birds.
there in July going,
Were you right across the lake?
Well,
As
I mean,
October,
yeah,
as they were
it was-
releasing those birds.
Spotting scope.
We're up north, by your relatives, Josh, and we're shooting birds banded in the same area, the same lakes and stuff. And then it's Smithville.
Yeah.
If you ever, that happens a lot at early goose. You'll hunt early goose season at Smithville Lake up here, and you just shoot a lot of bands because they were banded, 3-4 months ago.
well, they knew
Right.
there was going to be casualties.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you got the hardware. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
On
know.
your waterfowl side, you sent me pictures of the blind. So you guys got your blind by your
Yes.
pond. What other waterfowl type hunting scenarios have you done? Like boat blinds ever? Or have you done layout blinds?
No, we
or?
have, man, we have not. We have a little 3-man blind that our good buddy Mark Addington had at his house. He's got a nice duck property down in Butler, Missouri, and
Gotcha.
so we go down and hunt with him down there when we can. And he's always been great taking Jace, and they roost a lot of birds, and so I always have great hunts with him, and he's another one that's kind of helped me get a little more involved in the waterfowl. I usually go to Mark for any of my questions, and I have a lot of them. So, but that's his blind, and he let us throw it out there below the house, and so that's the only blind other than when we go. Last year we went up to Mound City and hunted snow geese.
Oh yeah,
with some buddies of ours, Chris Thompson, Tyler Durr, Craig Sinclair, all those guys I started hunting with those guys in 2016 and went up there with Zombo and man, I've just become friends with those guys over the years, and so we try to go up and try to get up this year, but Disney trip and Super Bowl kind of it made it tough.
Let's
so
take
I'll probably
Super
hear
Bowl
about that from those
victories,
guys, but
for the time being, let's just keep that cycle going.
Hey man, they're a tough crowd.
You got a lot of
we give each
years
other a hard
left to
time,
hunt.
so I'll expect Craig or Tyler or somebody saying something.
Yeah.
But
Appreciate you backing out.
We do love going up there and hunting with them, and when we do hunt, obviously it's lay down blinds. And I mean, what a spectacle that is, to go hunt and snow geese up there. And I mean, that's like, that's another hunt that I'm excited to take my son on because, he's such a bird fanatic. It's one of those deals. I might just sit back and have a sandwich and just watch, the hundreds of thousands of birds. Even if you don't shoot, just watching him enjoy it will be fun. So really just that 3-man blind. Yeah, my buddy's place, he's got a pit blind.
Yep.
So hunted out of all of them, but personally, still kind of scratching the surface there on the ways.
And
to
I'm
hunt,
always
so.
asking questions.
Hey, when in doubt, ask questions.
You'd think, 10 years as a manager of the hunting department at Rogers Sporting Goods, I still learn every month.
Yeah,
I still got questions. So we're always learning something
Always
new
learning.
or something different or rule changes. Check your
local game
Game
and
and
fish.
Fish code books. And if you have time, read that thick one.
Yeah. So on
book's
bow
giant.
hunting whitetails, and do you hunt out of a redneck, but do you hunt out of any saddles or climbers or hang-ons?
This is the first year that I've really hunted out of the redneck, and didn't hunt a ton out of it. I really primarily hunted out of that, just hunt with my son. But I've always never climbers, not so much. Typically, where we're at in Kansas, trees aren't real favorable for climbers.
Mm-hmm.
So the lone wolf, hunted out of those. The hawk tree stands, love those. Got 3 or 4 of those. Bought every one of those from Rogers, by the way.
Yeah.
So there you go. But I mean, pretty much bow stands. That's kind of my favorite. Never hunted the saddles, and really just haven't really hunted much ladder stand wise. Just mostly because of where you're putting them. Whether it's a pinch point or something. Most of the time, I like going without the ladder and just strapping the tree and kind of making it as minimal as possible. Getting up there. So
I got the saddle last year, Chandler, and I just didn't get time to use it last year, so I got to try to break it out.
You still got to break that out.
So, but when
Give her a try.
when you come in next, we've got some try-on ones. I'm gonna have you swing around on one of those. That it's wild the first time.
I can imagine.
I sat down in that thing and just.
I mean,
I thought I knew what I was doing. I flung around and knocked over stuff, and now I've got the hang of it. But I'm excited to break that out just because you're so. I mean, you can go anywhere.
Your
That's
silhouette-
the one
silhouette's,
thing of it.
You're
You
broken up, and you have a lot more
You
of a shooting
become
lane.
one with the tree.
Yeah.
it seems like if you're a climber guy, the saddle would be more of a a stand that you would feel more comfortable transitioning to, right? I mean,
Yeah, and the downfall of because people ask why would I pay for this? Because a whole setup, because you can't just get a saddle, you're going to need sticks.
A little platform or something.
You're going to need a little platform, and sometimes the cost of those 3 can be couple $100 more than just a climber.
Or a climber, yeah.
The problem is if you're public hunting, which a lot of guys use a climber for, you have to find the right tree, and you can't go sawing off the
perfect tree.
branches.
Yeah.
No branches.
Well,
you
you're
can
not supposed to saw off the branches.
Yeah.
The MDC walks out there, and you're out there with a handsaw just
Yeah.
chopping down his trees.
Yeah.
Where a saddle, you go around them,
Yeah.
so it don't matter. And you can be exactly where you want.
Yeah.
So there's some benefits to it. And I can see areas where, you wouldn't want to use it. And I still do permanent. Like on your own place, I can see you doing permanent ones more because
Yeah, you're going to leave them there. And
you leave them there
come
and
back
you
and
put
hunt
them where you
multiple times.
want.
But yeah, public land, that's a great point.
Yeah,
Because moving around and
Yeah, moving around and stuff. So, but you're definitely passing on the tradition to the boy.
Yeah.
So
I'm doing my best.
maybe the girl will get there.
Yeah,
but
hey, she's hunted
even
with me a couple
younger,
times
so-
too. She's, surprisingly, she does better sitting in the redneck than he does.
Okay.
She's got a better attention, and she
Yeah.
typically, as long as you bring some snacks, she's good to go. And but
As long as you bring
hey,
snacks, I'm good to go.
Hey, I'm not forcing her. I'm letting her decide. And if she wants to come with Dad and hunt, I'm all for it. So, again, just the fact of getting them outside and introduced to the outdoors. I mean, that's what's most important.
Yeah, I'm a snack man.
Mountain Dew too.
Mountain Dew.
I mean, there's nothing.
snacks.
Hey, there's nothing worse than being hungry in a deer stand.
And we joke.
Because you don't want to go, but you want to go, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're like,
We've said this
I'm hungry.
multiple times. You bring snacks for the day. Mine are gone by 10. I don't even make it to lunch.
I adopted something. I stole it from Mike Hunsucker with Heartland. I saw him. They do such a great job with their content, putting things out there, and when from the conservation side of things to their hunts, and I was a fan of their show and brand even before I came to Kansas City. So pretty cool to meet those guys and kind of follow them even years later up here and being a resident now of Kansas City and. But I saw Michael. He used a Yeti cup to keep his breakfast burrito warm, and I literally do that every time I hunt now. I mean, every time because because there is nothing better than having a hot breakfast burrito at about 9:30. Oh man,
Get one of them Yeti Slim Can coasters.
Something. Yeah,
We need
depending on the size of the
tumbler.
burrito.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it depends on your burrito.
We
Yeah.
need one the size of a slice of Casey's pizza. And then we'll be talking.
There you go. Yeah, see, waterfowl guy, you're probably all
Yeah,
about
that's
that
the
Casey's
waterfowl.
pizza.
Yeah.
There you go.
There is nothing better than sending somebody into town, pick up a couple
Yeah.
boxes of pizza.
Well, I've tried DoorDash and food out to the lake. And they're like, yeah, we can't do that, sir. And I'm like,
don't-
I'll meet you at the boat ramp and my waiters.
Hey, don't think I'm against folding that pizza up and just sliding it in
No,
there.
we'll
If it's going to
figure
be
it
hot
out.
for me,
Yeah.
I'll take it. It's better than being hungry.
Oh, them cold mornings too. And you're just like, oh, I want something warm.
Oh man, I know. Coffee can be dangerous.
You pull out a
That's-
fudge
it's good,
round
but-
when it's 17 degrees out and just a chocolate brick. You're like, yeah, that's
Put your
not
Pop-Tarts on
working.
the buddy heater.
Yeah.
Your candy bar
I mean, the
turns into a popsicle.
using that Yeti or that thermos for coffee is another one of my favorites. But that's kind of a roll of the dice kind of deal. Like you could make things worse getting out of the stand before you're ready by doing that. So kind of that one's a roll of the dice, I'll
Yeah.
say. But
Yeah.
hot coffee in the stand is another great one.
Yeah. What's your obviously you've hunted now just about everything, at least in this area, and did the deep sea fishing too. What's your go-to? Is it whitetail? Is that like your favorite species to hunt?
If you ask me in the
Or-
fall, I'd say whitetail with
Yeah.
a bow.
Yeah.
If you ask me in the spring, I'd probably say turkey. But I think
Sure.
whitetail wins. I mean, I think that's just
Yeah.
everything that goes into it. From the prep off season through the summer. All the phases of it leading up to that moment when you actually get to go put some time and hunt and try to up your chances. But that's really what you're doing at the end of the day, and just that chase. And especially today's day and age. A lot of guys will hunt a target buck, and that's been a lot of fun to get to do that. Have that one deer that you're chasing and pass on some younger deer, but to have that one buck that you have history with, a story with. I mean that the ups and downs, the triumph, the heartbreak. I mean the whole thing tied in is just what makes it so much fun. And so definitely whitetail with a bow gets.
Do you put out trail cams?
I do, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cell cams,
You have
everything.
your boys start naming the
Well,
deer you're after.
when you're at work or you're in Seattle or Miami, and unfortunately, I can sort of stay connected through my cell cams, and look back and see what's going on. Now that causes a little heartbreak sometimes as well.
Yeah.
You see your target buck in front of your stand at 9:15, and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
But then again, when you only have a few times during the week to hunt, that's you're playing the odds. So
Yeah. Do you have I'm putting you on the spot here, but
no,
like
go
a
for
hunting story, and you probably have a few of them. Like what's one of your favorite hunting stories, or a fond hunt you did, or a memory that you have, either now or when you were a kid, or what's a story that you're fond of, or that was crazy, or it could be a wild hunting.
Well, the
story
guys that
too,
know me, they'd probably say I have way too many stories, and you don't have enough time. But
that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's man, I don't, not one really.
There's a
sticks
lot.
out,
Yeah,
but
I'm trying to think of
try to
some
narrow
that
it
I've
down.
had that are pretty wild, or a fun one that sticks out to me. That I tell you, the ones that stick out to me is when the wife, me and her started going a bunch when we first met, and taking her out and having her get like her first buck or whatever.
Oh man, I got a story there on that.
But
one.
those
Yeah.
are like, right? I've had some before. I've had the experience and the luck of doing it, and or whatever. And so to see her reaction when we went out, it was like game changer.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had those are probably my favorite hunts. Is actually when we get to sit together and hunt. But
Well, my wife does not. She does not hunt. She did not grow up hunting. So we're dating at the time, and we're down at my family's farm in southern Oklahoma, in Marietta, and it was time for me. She knew I was going to go hunt, so it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to hang with the family. You're going to go stand, and my family, we all like to give each other a hard time. So they start. I said, they said, Emily, you ought to go hunt with James. And I'm not totally opposed to it, but I'm like, you don't have boots. You don't have, it's cold, spitting sleet. Like, why would you want to go out in this, And, of course, they start volunteering their boots,
Their items,
their coveralls, everything. And they're just smiling from ear to ear as they're doing this. So she does. She ends up hunting with me. It was the first time we'd ever hunted together. And she was walking in front of me, a solid 7 yards in front of me, and I could literally smell perfume walking behind her, and I'm thinking, like, we're not going to see a single deer. And then I told her, I tried to tell her it's going to be really cold. Like, you're not going to, I know you got all these boots and, boots and clothes, everything on, but you're not going to make it out here. It's going to get real cold. Well, I gave her 30 minutes. At minute 28, she said, I'm really cold. I kind of want to go to the house. And I said, okay. And so I said, do you know which way the house is? And she said, yeah, down that trail, around the corner and follow it to the house. I said, okay. And she did. She got down and she walked back to the house, and I kept hunting.
I'll be back later.
So again,
Attaboy.
we've been married since 2015, happily. So
Yeah.
that worked
Sure.
out well. So
Yeah.
but yeah, great story, and I think that was the beginning and the end of our hunting together. To be honest with you, so I've got the kids, so now the kids are starting to go with me.
Yeah.
But
That's
if
good stuff.
if she wanted to continue hunting with me, be totally fine with it.
Right.
But I'm like, hey,
Well,
if
so you
it's
got
not
the
your thing,
redneck
it's not your
now.
thing. We do have the
You can
redneck,
put the
which
heater
kind
in
of
there.
family. I could see a family hunt happening.
Have her get up in there, if it's big,
Heater
maybe
would-
while
yeah,
the
she'd want
kids
the
are
heater.
young, they don't take up a lot of room. We can get 4 of you up in there and do a little Winchester family outing.
Man, we might have to have a lot of snacks and just
Be a
go
lot
ahead
of-
and hope that no deer is within 60 yards,
Yeah.
because they will definitely be gone. But
Biggest deer I took was in a ground blind, and we had 4 of us in there.
Nice.
And the little girl's got her books. We brought a rug out, because there's no floor in the ground blind, so she didn't see any of the hunt or nature. She was laying down the whole time. But it was an experience.
Hey,
yeah.
she was there.
You're
had the
trying to
memory
keep
of it.
4
Yeah.
of you quiet.
Oh, man.
You're like,
You ought to do a dove hunt.
Yeah, we've been I've been talking up dove hunting to my son, and I started showing him some of the Argentina dove hunting
that gets
videos.
wild.
And, man, yeah. So now he's kind of getting involved in that one too, and kind of lobbying. Like I'm like, bud, I'm not taking you to Argentina right now in 5, but maybe one of these days we could go do that. And but yeah, that's an easy one, and we have over the past few years. We've gone and sat on a bucket and done the dove thing, even though sometimes don't really kill a whole lot, but he liked it. He enjoyed it. It was more action. You could move around.
Was he the bird dog?
He was definitely the bird dog. I
go.
definitely sent him to get the birds, and he did a good job. He did. He
It's
ran
a
out
good
and got them.
precursor to the season.
It is the season.
I mean that just kind of starts it off, get you rolling.
I love dove hunting.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever put in for the mule deer stuff or the elk stuff in Kansas?
I haven't. No, not yet.
Once you move over to that state line, I mean, I think there's some mule. I don't know if you have to draw for the mule deer tag or if you have to put in points for that elk out in out west Kansas.
Yeah.
There's Fort Riley.
Yeah, Fort Riley. That's I think the only thing for elk.
That's a
out
draw.
there. That's a draw. I don't know how many
You
years.
can buy. I believe you can buy an over-the-counter elk tag. You just can't be on Fort Riley.
Gotcha.
I believe. Check with your local game and fish.
Yeah, but I just knew there's some other big game out there in
But-
Kansas
yeah.
you have access to.
I think deer tag is any deer.
I'll have to look at that, but I know. I mean, Aaron, he used to work here. He moved over to Kansas from Missouri to strictly get some mule deer tags and stuff like that. So, and the Kansas whitetail tags as well.
Yeah. That was I wouldn't say that's the number one reason why we settled into Kansas, but it was up there on my list.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a resident of Kansas because I always dreamed about hunting Kansas, and I was pretty excited to eventually try to go hunt mule deer in western Kansas, and then I found out that you get one buck.
Oh,
That's whitetail or mule deer, and then I'm like, I'm not so excited anymore because then I'd have to give up my whitetail over, so it's kind of a conflicting. If it lines up one of these days, I'd love to, but
I guess
there's a lot on my list, but I might have to go to another state just so I can keep that that whitetail tag, buck tag.
You bring up elk. That's one thing, especially bow hunters that have ever had the opportunity to go elk hunting and take an elk. Over 90% of them, I feel like, would always say that's their favorite species now to hunt ever.
Yeah.
There's something about an elk during the rut screaming in your face,
yeah.
and just the country you're in, and they say it's like hands down. I went elk hunting, but it was with a rifle, and which was awesome. But yeah, I could only imagine.
It's
Like take spring turkey bow hunting. And that turkey coming in, and
it's a run and gun style,
but now magnify it.
Usually, run and gun with a bow.
Yeah,
That would be a blast. Yeah, that'd be fun.
I'd have to get
it's on my list.
a little
It's
bit of
just,
shape for that.
just it's a post football list. So
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a rough one. 'cause
True,
that's
it's
right in the
Oh man, I
opening
know.
of the
Early,
season.
You're opening
September,
there,
early
September. Yeah.
But I think experiencing the mountains, experiencing the bugles in the mountains, and then you take a step further and getting to pursue a bull elk with a bow. Oh man, that would be incredible. I don't think I can grasp how awesome that would be. But everyone that's gone that I know, they speak very highly of it, and they kind of continue to go back or try to draw on those states for that reason, obviously. Yeah.
That's good stuff. So future plans, which you said earlier, we at least got you through this upcoming season. Okay.
Yep. Got
And
one
that-
more year on contract.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we could do like they do the Heisman campaigns in college. We'll do a Winchester campaign to
Perfect.
make sure.
I'll take it. I will take it.
Call up Brett Veach. Be like, listen, all right, this is the dude. So let's keep him going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'd be on board.
And then you probably what else? What you got in the future? What's the plan? So you got hunts coming up. You're doing Kentucky.
Yeah. Some turkey hunts. A lot of family time.
Yep.
Need to get more work done behind the house, honestly. But the wind and the rain are really bothering.
Yeah.
Really making those plans tough. And the time that I really should have done that was about the time we were playing in the Super Bowl. So kind of conflicting there. And then March so far has been extremely windy and extremely wet, so tough to get some of those projects done. But
Yeah.
I think it's going to green up pretty quick, honestly.
Yeah.
And which is exciting because you get that spring feel.
Yeah.
You start imagining, hearing turkeys gobble, and that's exciting. So I need to get out and start shooting my bow. But hanging with the family, and then obviously, already back to training. So
When's that hit off again?
we report back to OTAs around April 17th ish.
Really?
So yeah, I mean,
Gotcha.
that's that is a downside to winning
Yeah.
a world championship is you don't have a very long off season.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you're professional and you do what we do,
Yeah.
it's kind of unless you have something physical going on that you need some time away or
Yeah.
have to have something done or fixed. It's nice to kind of get back into it.
Right.
Once you've given your body a little bit of rest and
Yeah.
you just love the process. You
Yeah.
love getting back to work and training. And
Is there some downtime in the summer?
we
Besides-
do. We get out. So we have the last 2 weeks of June off, and then
Okay.
about 3.5 weeks of July.
Okay.
So, but unless you're going to the lake that time of year, it's pretty miserable and
Right.
hot and humid this time of year.
Yeah.
You can maybe make an escape
Yeah.
up to the mountains or Colorado somewhere
Sure.
and enjoy the humidity being less than
Yeah.
80%. But other than that, off seasons are
Yeah.
fun. I mean, we got a big family, so
Sure.
we try to get down to Oklahoma and see my mom and sisters and grandparents and family friends and everybody back home. But
And I do have one last thing for me. I want to know how from your junior year to your senior year at OU you shrunk. They have you listed at
No way.
6'4" your sophomore and junior year, and then your senior year you became 6'3". So you must have got a new measuring guy in there.
Well, I think how that happened is, when you're younger and you're being scouted, whether it's your hand, your height, your weight, you always kind of err on the side of heavier, taller. So barefoot, I am like 6'3" and 3/4 ish. It's a lot better to just say 6'4".
Yeah, I get it.
So like when anybody asks, I mean, in high school they're not measuring you. So in high school, how tall? 6'4".
6'4".
How much do you weigh? If you're 170, you're like 180,
I'm
185.
pushing that 180,
you want that
185.
little
Yeah.
niche, and to
Then
be
you
up
get to the
higher.
combine
Then you
and
get to
you
the
get
combine. They
exposed.
measure everything: your hands, your shoulders, your
my
your
gosh.
wingspan, and your height. And I mean, there's no tippy toe in that one. You got a guy holding those feet down, making sure they get down to the to
Yeah,
the tent.
they're gonna get your true
Absolutely. So yes,
height
that could
and
probably
hand
be
size.
why I shrunk a little bit. But
trying to expose you. That's
yeah,
crazy.
well, it didn't work. So
No.
yeah,
Look where he
jokes
is
on them.
now, 2-time champ. Take that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Chandler, you got any final thoughts for this cat here?
No.
This is awesome, man. This is
Yeah.
it's just I was waiting and waiting. I'm like, hey, keep on winning, buddy. We'll just
We'll do this after
we'll talk, and then and then you go through the playoffs, and then it's like, all right, Super Bowl, you
Yeah.
know, and there's that 2-week period, it's got to be such an agonizing 2
Yeah.
weeks.
Well, you hear that, more often, you hear like, hey, just, you'll win it all and then we'll do it after that, and that's
Right.
always the goal. And then
Well, sure.
you go and do it, and then it's surreal,
Yeah,
very
then you got-
surreal. You're like, we did
and
it.
it's like,
you
well,
know?
now we got a parade, so we got to wait till after that. You know what I mean? We gotta,
I mean, you got to enjoy the fun.
It's a scheduling nightmare.
oh my gosh!
Man,
I'll
I
tell
can
you
imagine.
what.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So, no, it's been fun, and
Yeah, it was a
and,
great season. I loved
you.
watching
Yeah,
every
thank
bit
you.
of it.
Yeah,
Some really fun games to watch.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's just like I find myself watching the highlights,
Yeah.
going back and kind of like we talked
yeah.
on earlier. I don't see all of them, but seeing some of these top 10 plays of the season and things like
Yeah.
that. I mean, man, you're just so proud of your teammates.
Yeah.
Proud to be a part of it. Proud of your coaches. Proud of. I mean, it's just such a. I mean, this dude's, the performance in those games, whether it was throughout the season or AFC Championship or Super Bowl. I mean, guys just stepped up. And
So let me. I
did it.
do have a really, and this is a serious question, because Andy Reid is a offensive guru, and he's probably in his cave right now drawing up plays.
no doubt.
Wide receiver, turn long snapper. Let's get you a touchdown. play in a game?
Does
you
anyone
know,
gotta draw that
the
up.
tough part about it.
Are you going in there
I was-
promoting yourself?
Well, I was excited about the the potential of something like that happening. And then I learned the rules a little better.
That's what I was
And
learning about the
The
rules.
rules really kind of put a damper to like me doing anything.
Dontari Poe can get a touchdown.
Well, the thing is, there it's even tighter because as a long snapper on a punt team, you have to be the guy on the end of the line of scrimmage, and then the receivers outside of you have to be off the ball. So as soon as they do that, there's a referee that points at me and says he's eligible, and then the entire defense screams he's eligible, he's eligible. So like that pretty much puts my chances of
Oh, they
having
can't
a
cover
fake,
you.
like-
They won't even know.
yeah. So, and then the same thing on an extra point, a field goal try or extra point, that's a alignment deal where
Yeah.
I'm covered up. I can't be eligible. So it's tough, but
I think we could figure something out.
the first conversation that I had, and it was a very short conversation with Coach Reed when I signed in Kansas City in 2015. I'm making the rounds, signing, and then going from position coach to GM, and then Dorsey down to Coach Reed, and my first experience with Coach Reed, he walks up and puts his hand out. I shake his hand, and he says, "Can you play tight end?" And I'm like, Andy Reid's asking me if I can play tight end. I'm not gonna say no. I played wide out, so I give him like the most honest answer I can. I'm like, Coach, I can play if you split me out. More comfortable with that. Maybe don't have as much experience blocking. And he's just shaking my hand, nodding, and that was it. And so I'm thinking like, man, he's gonna throw me in there at tight end. He never did. So, but I thought about jumping in and running some tight end, and then I soon found out watching those guys just how elite they are. I thought, I feel like I'm a pretty good athlete, but not having it is so elite at that level to what those guys do. Even as a tight end, their body size, their skill set, everything, and then not only that, but what they do every single day in their preparation. Everybody says like, oh, I could catch that pass on game day, but like, watch those guys practice, and then you realize like, okay, I'm not.
Travis be putting on a clinic out there.
That's when I said, I think I'm just going to snap.
I'm just gonna snap.
Yeah.
Well, you
I'm
do
gonna
well
what I'm
at
good
that. So we'll
I
just
appreciate
let's
it.
hit
That
that
works.
too.
Yeah.
we'll keep you going. We can keep you around for a while.
That's the plan.
That's awesome. And you have to keep me updated. Obviously, I'm sure you can come say hi at the store.
No doubt. I'll be in.
We'll talk about spring turkey coming up, and
Oh yeah,
and
I'm getting excited already.
Yeah,
I know. Fired
it's
up.
right around the corner. So
Oh,
I
there it
can't
is.
wait. I can't wait. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys having me on, and it was a lot of fun.
hopefully you make it back safe. Hopefully I get you home in time for dinner. So
I'll make it there.
All right,
a couple
good.
hours later.
yeah. Well, I appreciate it again. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys.
I think it's time for me to go